Yo, what's up, guys? Friday here, back with another video, and today we're going to be hopping into the top playbooks in Madden 22 updated. This is a video that I did earlier in the year, and it is still one of my most successful videos as of today. It gets the most views, more than a lot of my other videos. So we're going to kind of update that. I feel like it's something that you guys want, so that's what we're going to bring. Let's move this down just a little bit. But yeah, so hopping into it, we're going to go with our offense first, and specifically we're going to start out with our number one playbook. That's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals offensive playbook. In my personal opinion, I think it is the best. We're just going to start out with these gun formations that you have, and it's a lot of really good formations. I made schemes on just a ton of stuff here. Starting out with the tight wide off, I made a video not too recently actually in this formation. You guys can check it out. It was literally my second or third to last video, but this is a very good formation to audible to. I don't know if I would recommend necessarily making a whole scheme around it if you were to run Bengals, because there is so many other good formations, but as far as something audibling to, you can really have some firepower to here. Just going over some of the plays. Flood drive, really good play. PA go slot cross, has like a 40-yard crosser. We know how good that play is. Then you have switch wide receiver drag on the right with some good corner routes. Red zone scissors with a deep S post. Good running back corner route. I mean, overall, just a really good formation. You have a couple of RPOs, inside zones, and again, I would mix in this formation if you're at all able to, because of how useful it really can be. Then you have the tight wide off weak, which is really just not good at all. There's a couple of good plays like flood, but other than that, nah, it's a pass from me. Then you're going to scroll down. You got a formation like wide trips. Some people like wide trips, other people don't. It's not for everybody, but it can be a good formation in the right hands. Then you have a tray offset. This is going to be a good formation if you ever wanted to like audible and create maybe a trips concept. A lot of you guys probably have hot route master at this stage of the year, or some kind of hot routes. So you can really create some cool stuff out of here, although it's not going to be your best selection. And then you have the bunch, which again, kind of the main thing in this formation. We will show some other stuff, of course, but here you have the bunch offset, which is going to be super. It's probably one of the best bunch offsets. It has really every play you would need besides double post. And double post isn't really even too good at this point in the year. You have flood, smash return, and then you have spacing switch, PA dig fork, you have your inside zone, bench pivot, curl flat, love those, Z spot and go, dig return, verticals, and bunch drive. So I mean, you really have everything that you need. Verticals being the most important, and then you have a couple of nice corner out plays, a couple of plays like curl flat, your floods of the world, and again, you can all, of course, use hot route master and get some better routes as well. Now also what you have is the bunch hatback strong, which is a very good formation as well. You have a couple of nice plays you can audible to, including the PA bunch shot on the right there and the wide trail, to name a few. There's also a bench pivot on the right, which is a play that a lot of the pros like. Then you can also run an audible to an inside zone. So if your bunch was on the right and you wanted to run inside zone, you could. The last kind of main good formation in this playbook is going to be the tight slots, and this is going to have most plays you would need as flood, mesh spot, post drag wheel, and 4 verticals, which is going to be your main 4. And then a couple of other formations like spread, tray wide flex is going to be pretty good if you would choose to run it. You have a couple of like unique plays here, like wide receiver cross. That's a playbook. I think that's a playbook exclusive play. As far as the rest of the formation, you have some actual good formations like I form close, although there's not too much in here. Some unique stuff like a pistol. And then your single back, you actually have a couple of decent things like a deuce close with stretch, with dive. And then some things like wing flex close, which you have a dive, you have a stretch, you have a couple good passing plays. So really good formation. You have things like bunch tight end, single back bunch. So I mean, definitely the best playbook in the game. But let's go ahead, hop into number 2 now. All right, so playbook number 2 is going to be the Seahawks on offense, and with this playbook, you have a lot of options. It's going to be a little bit more diverse and kind of more audibling. A lot of guys, when they run Cincinnati, it's going to be a heavy bunch attack. I gave you a couple of other formations that you can go to, but it's generally a lot of bunch offset. This one, there's a lot more audibling options, and we're going to go over some of those. So I'm going to start out in the gun, going through some of these early ones, not very good. There's not really like a tight way off that is decent. You have the wide trips. Again, some people like wide trips, other people don't, so I'll kind of let you guys decide about that, but it is there if need be. There's a lot of good plays in there personally that I like. I like the wide trips formation, but I know some guys just never go to it. Anyways, moving on, you got the trips tight end offset, one of my personal just favorite formations kind of ever in this game. It is really good to audible for a little bit. If you need to run an inside zone, it's a good formation to go to. You have things like level sail, X under, and then combine that with the verticals and a PA crossers, and you have a really good mini scheme. Again, you can audible this like 3, 4, 5 times a game, and it will catch your opponent off guard because he's adjusting for heavy bunch and bunch tight end. You mix in something like that, and it just adds to the headache of defending this playbook. Next up, you got bunch, and this is one of the best just regular bunches in the game. You combine it with bunch tight end, and it is definitely the best playbook that has just this traditional bunch in it. Starting out, you have base, good running play. You have your Z spot on the left, Z spot and go if you prefer that. And then you have clear out, SE out, which is only in Seattle and Baltimore playbooks. So that is only in 2 playbooks. It is in Seattle. Then you have your bench pivot play. You have bunch trail. Mesh spot is a popular play. You have that. And again, just different. So you can either prefer bunch offset or bunch. They're both very good, but they are different. So I would recommend if you want to run a bunch concept, you would try them both out and see which one you like better. Anyways, moving on, you got inside cross right here on the left. That's a good play. Tight end hook, I've used that. You have your traditional verticals, and then flood in the middle. And last but not least, mesh post, dig return. You have your read option, which is a good play as well. And that's going to kind of cap us off. But wait, this is not the only formation in there. You also have a bunch tight end. So when you combine the two, it's very difficult to really put any other playbooks besides Cincinnati over it, and that was a personal preference. But in this bunch tight end, you really have everything you need. It's not going to be as good as Kansas City. Kansas City does have a couple of extra plays, but when you combine it with the fact that you have the best bunch in the game, that's not a bunch offset. It's hard to pick anything over this when you're running bunch tight end, unless you're running exclusively bunch tight end. But you have X spot, inside zone, PA boot over, crow fly corner, stick, and inside switch. Really everything you need. You have inside zone, you have off tackle as well. The rest of the formation, you have a tight slots, meh, it's decent. I wouldn't call it crazy. And then you have a tray wide flex, again, a solid formation if you need it. I like the chips head end offset better. A couple of 5 wides, a couple of decent pistols. As far as I-form, you do have a good I-form wing option. Under center, you have a very good deuce close option. You have a stretch, you have a wham, flood. Again, it's not the best, but it is very good for being in Seattle playbook, and then you have just a couple of decent stuff. So let's go ahead and hop into playbook number 3 on offense. All right, moving into our last playbook on offense, we got the New England Patriots. Now, New England Patriots is going to be a very balanced formation. There's going to be a lot more formations that are kind of used. You can make schemes around 3 or 4 formations in the offense. And starting out, you have a heavy Patriot, which is a good running formation, good red zone formation. If you have a mobile quarterback or someone who can carry the ball like a Mixon at QB or Derrick Henry. Then you got your gun a slot offset, which I was actually thinking about making a video on soon, maybe a gameplay. Very good formation. Very balanced passing and running. You have your run plays, which include the inside zone. You have a PA bubble, read option, a one trap, buck sweep. So really everything that you need. I guess power O is going to be your Owen trap. Then moving on to your passing options, you have a variety of those, including but not limited to the posts play, which is one of the most difficult plays to stop in the game. PA post shot is decent, and then you have things like China double in and levels Y sail. Again, it's really, you kind of call it like 2 plays. You build your offense around posts, levels Y sail, and then like your run plays, and you can hot route your way around those plays very effectively. You'll see that if I do go to the gameplay in that, but it's a really good formation. I like it a lot. It's simple, and it's very effective. Then you got a couple of like wing flex, doubles, kind of like these formations are pretty bad, so nah. But then you got your Y-off strips Pats, which I actually posted as my last upload. You guys seem to like that one a lot, so maybe I'll post an ebook on it soon or something. But we got very good options here. Pats Y out. You have your power, Pats drag wheel, PA fork. There's so many good plays in this offense. Y option wheel, very good. With the wheel route, you have scat, Pats slot out. And then you have things like tight end whip, corners. I mean, just there's so many good passing plays. Curl flat, tight end deep out. So when you combine, or when you think about it, you have so much diversity, and then you can do things like hot route, master, and you see I created some really good combos in my video if you guys want to check that out. Next up, we got trips tight end. It's probably one of the best trips tight ends, if not the best. You have double in sail, PA shot wheel inside zone, PA slot corner, pass Y in, drive post, verticals, QB power, angle, curl flat, PA counter go, pass Y out, inside cross, and your quick base. So, I mean, just super difficult to stop. If you're running trips, Patriots is super good. And if you ever struggle in trips, you can audible like a Y off trips. And then you have your bunch. Bunch is going to be not as good as the Seattle one, but it still has some really good plays. You have Pat's verts, Pat's sail, curl flat. You have a bunch trail, but it's not as good because you don't have a deep post. Then you have things like inside cross, corner, strike, mesh spot. So again, it's decent. I wouldn't ever build a scheme around it in Patriots playbook, but it can be used. Then a couple of other dud formations we're not going to mention. As far as your under center stuff, I'm not the biggest fan of it personally. A couple of decent I forms with slot and tight. Just traditionally under center, there's not really a lot to like here. So mainly stick to your gun formations if you're running Patriots. But let's move into defense now. Defensively, we're going to start out in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to be a nice variety of really everything that you would want. A couple of good 3-4 formations, although I don't really even think there's a reason to talk about those considering the fact that it's just not used. So we'll kind of move on. But start out in the nickel, you have a lot of good stuff here. The most important kind of being your 3-3-5 wide, which is going to be a good balanced blitz combination with potential coverage if you need it, as well as good run defense. So you're going to have things like hover 4, drop show 2 on the right there. You have Mike Blitz 3, which is probably going to be your kind of main blitzing play. You also have the 3 Sam Will blitz if you prefer that. So you really have your options there. And then, of course, your basic stuff. You have a cover 3. You have a cover 1 robber. You have a Tampa 2. And then 2-man under on the left there, cover 2 sink. Mike Blitz 0, which is going to be one of the better man blitzes if you were to run that. And then you have a cover 1 contain on the right. So again, pretty much all 3-5 wides throughout this defensive sequence is going to have everything, all these same plays. And defense, a lot of times when you see a formation, is going to be different than offense because defensively, the formations, whenever they're in a playbook, a lot of times they just have every play. There's not many playbook exclusive plays within the same formation. Moving on though, you got double A gap. It's decent. It's not really a comp formation, but it's pretty good against bums or your friends at home. And then you got the 2-4-5 odd, which is a really good blitzing formation. Specifically, the most important play is going to be your pinch 2. On the left there, you have a couple of man options if need be. Cover 3 cloud, good coverage. Cover 6 on the right can be a good bluff blitz out of this formation. You have your basic cover 4 drop on the left, 2-man under, and Tampa 2 as well. So definitely can be a good play to run. As well as there's another blitz, I think, Sam Mike 3 press. That's good out of this, unless I'm thinking something else. But then you go to dime, and that was pretty much it for this, yeah. So then you go to dime, you got 2-3-6 will, which is going to be kind of your dollar formation, and it's going to be your most probably effective blitzing formation. You have things like DB Fire 2, very effective play. You have things like Edge Blitz 1, which can be good for pressure. Edge Blitz 2 right there, and then you have a couple of unique plays like this maxing 3 in the middle there. I like that play a lot, and then cover 3 hard flat _23. I like that play. I did make a video on that a while ago. Then you have 1-4-6, again, kind of basic stuff. 1-4-6, not as good as 2-3-6 will, but you have a couple of decent plays if need be. You have your cover 3 sky. You actually don't have cover 2 sink in this, which is interesting, but yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Let's hop into playbook number 2 for the defense. All right, hopping into playbook number 2, we are using the Cowboys here, but it's going to be a specialty playbook. It's going to be the 4-6 on defense, which is the most popular specialty playbook in the game, defensively or offensively, and you're going to have a lot of options here. So starting out, you got your basic 4-6 normals. Those can be good. Those can be schemes in their own. They're not popular, so we're not going to talk about them for too long, similar to last video, or last playbook rather, not last video, but then you got your 3-4s, which your 3-4s, again, they are what they are. Some people like them, other people don't. Not too popular by any stretch of the imagination, not really used at all. But then you got your nickel. I am a really big fan of nickel normal, so this is why. This is my playbook. If you watch my videos, you know that. If you watch my gameplays specifically, you know that nickel normal is the formation that I really have been running recently in every video. Specifically, the match coverage I like a lot, and those 2 plays that you see in the middle and the right-hand side, which the right hand's over there. Cover 9 show 2 and cover 6 invert. I like the match coverage out of this formation a lot. You have a couple of other options. You have cover 4 quarters, cover 3 cloud on the right there, cover 4 palms, of course, and then you have your basic things like cover 2, man coverage, cover 3s, and nickel blitz 2 is decent as well. So I like this formation a lot. There's a lot of really good plays out here. Specifically match, you just have a ton of options, and I think it's just a good balance, good against the run, good against the pass. Next up, we got wide. Again, we've already kind of talked about wide, no different plays in here, but again, still good run defense, blitzing, pass defense, all that stuff. The last formation you're going to have is 3-3-5, this is definitely nice to have because you can get safeties at linebacker in 3-3-5 wide now, specifically at these outside positions. You'd be able to get safeties right here because you audible from 3-3-5 to 3-3-5 wide. So if you are running exclusively 3-3-5 wide, 4-6 is probably a better playbook. And then you move down further, you got big nickel, meh. It's just a worse version of nickel normal if you ask me. Dime, nobody runs that. And then you have dollar. Dollar I like a lot. I prefer dollar to big dime. They're very similar, but I like dollar better personally. I just see better success. DB Fire 2 is my favorite play. You see it in the middle there. Cross 3 Fire you have, that can be good. Cover 4 on the left, a couple of man coverage options, and then you have your things like edge blitz 3 on the left there. That's a good blitz to run. And again, some of the same old stuff. Just basic plays that don't really need to be talked about, but that is going to be it for your 4-6 playbook. I like it personally. Let me know what you think, but let's hop into the last defensive playbook now. All right, the last playbook that we're doing is the Bears defensively. This is what I was running for a lot of the year. I personally switched between Bears and 4-6. And Bears is very good. Starting out, you have a nice option that neither of them have in the 4-3 even 6-1, which is a super annoying but super effective blitzing defense. I've had a lot of success with it whenever I've ran it. You have man coverage and then your zone coverage options with Tampa 2, mainly as your zone blitz. Good coverage, mix up with cover 4, man coverage, cover 3. And it's a fun formation to use defensively if you're trying to mix things up from the standard edge sheet every single play. 4-4, meh, but here you got very good options. Starting out wide, we've already talked about that, but again, same stuff, same plays you have. Then you got 2-4-5 odd, which is, again, in that first playbook. You have your play like pinch 2 on the left, and then again, same old. And there's not too much to talk about new with these formations because, again, they are kind of the same. But nickel dribble is a new one. This is a formation that I ran heavily. It was really good against some bad players if you're trying to get them out of the game. You see that middle blitz, I called it 408 times. Pretty good average per play, all things considered. You have nickel blitz 2, which is your zone coverage blitz option. Pretty basic stuff. And again, this video will also be good for next year because these playbooks will likely stay the same or similar. But that's it for nickel. Moving on, you got dime, and this is where the playbook kind of falls off because you do not have a dime 2-3-6. You have a 1-4-6, but you do not have a 2-3-6, which is a little bit unfortunate. You can still run some good blitzes out of here. I mean, you still do have plays like cover 2 sink and DB sing 2 buzz where you can send kind of similar to edge heat. But if you were looking to send edge heat out of this formation, I would recommend the 2-4-5 auto or the triple. But that's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, and peace. I'm out here.